네, 오늘의 라이프인넘버스 아주 특별한 손님을 저희가 좀 모셨는데 아마 마트나 백화점에서 와인 혹시 사신 분들은 이런 라벨을 보신 적이 있을 겁니다. JS90, JS95, 92 뭐 이런 숫자와 JS라는 알파벳이 적혀 있는 걸 보신 적이 있을 텐데 바로 그 주인공입니다. 세계 최고의 와인 평론가 제임스 서클링님 저희 스튜디오로 모셨거든요. 국내 미디어 사상 최초로 진행되는 영상 인터뷰 세계 최고의 와인 평론가 제임스 서클링님을 모시겠습니다. 반갑습니다.
Nice to meet you.
네.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
And 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
정프로, it's great to be on your program.
자, 저희에게 이 3만이라는 숫자를 주셨는데 그거는 어떤 의미입니까?
Well, 30,000 is how many wines I've tasted with my team this year. So we've tasted and rated already 30,000 wines.
그러면 제임스님은 늘 술에 취해 있습니까?
I knew you were going to say that. But actually, you have to spit the wine. You can't drink it all. So generally if I'm tasting, each day I would taste 30 or 40 wines. In the morning, 250,000 wines as a wine critic in 42 years.
언제부터 와인 드셨습니까?
So I started drinking wine when I was about 17 with my father.
Isn't it illegal?
Yes, but
You are on the arrest.
but my father was a lawyer, so
아, really? 아버지께서 변호사세요. 와, 그러면 그 테이스팅하는 방법이 있습니까?
Well, I think you're going to have to experience the tasting procedure.
오케이.
So I brought brought two wines. So the first wine is a Nebbiolo from northern Italy. So smell. And then I was saying it's like oranges, cherries, maybe some flowers.
In this wine?
Yeah.
오렌지랑 체리요?
There's no wrong answer.
오케이.
And so try it. So fresh, clean. It's really just it's like adult fruit juice.
네, 약간 신맛이 납니다.
Totally. And different citrus like lemon and orange, and then the skin, a little bit of stone.
스톤?
If you lick a stone.
돌 맛은 어떻습니까?
I don't know. You'll have to try it sometime.
이 와인을 지금 마시고 한 열흘 뒤에 다시 이 와인을 똑같이 마시면 이게 내가 열흘 전에 마셨던 와인이라는 걸 기억할 수 있습니까?
That's actually that's one of my talents. Is that I can tell you wines that I tasted 30 years ago.
이걸 기억한다고? 아메리칸 와인?
Do you want to try it?
Yeah.
So look, already you see darker color. So this is Pinot Noir from California. How do you like that?
I guess. 이게 더 비싼 거야.
Exactly.
아,
With more
맞습니까?
flavor. Yeah. You
Am I
got
right?
it. Yeah, brother.
Thank you. 비싼 게 맛있습니까?
But that's actually interesting. Generally speaking, let's say tasty in a good way. It's like saying, is Hanu beef better than Australian beef? In my opinion, Hanu beef is better, more tasty. So it's really about how the grapes, where they grew, how they were grown. So it's the same principle. They're all agricultural products.
여러 나라의 여러 와인들을 맛보시려면 전 세계를 아마 여행을 하실 텐데 1년에 몇 번 정도 비행기를 타시는지 혹시 계산해 보셨나요?
Well, probably too often, but normally I fly once a week.
와, 최고의 와인 혹은 뭐 가장 비싼 와인은 어떤 건지 혹시 기억나십니까?
Yes, I do. It was actually the greatest wine I ever tasted in my life was in 1988 in Burgundy, France. I was living in Paris then, and I drank a wine called La Romanie, and it was the vintage was 1865.
120년 된 거예요, 그러면?
Actually, with the man who made the wine, Claude Bouchard, and the priest that owned the vineyard. It was like this magical nectar from the gods.
그게 진짜 맛있어서 기억이 나세요? 아니면 그냥 120년 이상 됐다는 그
Cool question. It was actually amazing. It was these fruit, like these dark fruits that I had never had, and it was so fresh but also complex with flavors of mushrooms, earth. It was just this crazy wine.
그 와인의 가격이 혹시 책정이 돼 있습니까?
No, I was visiting the winery. This guy, Claude Bouchard, he must have been 80 years old. And there was this old priest the same age. And I was 26 years old. And they were serving this young American. You know, my French wasn't that good. I speak good French now. And it was so amazing to be with these elderly gentlemen, French gentlemen. And they're just explaining in French the wine. And then I remember I asked the priest, who obviously a Catholic priest, and I said, is this the wine you serve for the service every Sunday? And then he laughed because I said, if you do, then you must have a very full church.
그러면 이제 우리 제임스님이 와인의 점수를 매기면 그 다음에 그 좋은 점수를 받은 와인은 혹시 가격이 올라가기도 합니까?
Yeah, well, that can happen. And but when I taste wine, I don't think about the price. But it's just like being a movie critic or a theater critic or a restaurant critic. You know, if a critic goes to a restaurant and the food's bad and he writes bad things, then if he has a lot of power, then people won't go to the restaurant. That's being a critic.
그러면 그 우리 주변에도 와인 좋아하시는 분들이 굉장히 많은데 그분들도 와인 맛에 대해서 이런저런 얘기를 많이 하시는데 이 와인을 전문적으로 이 비평하시는 우리 제임스 선생님이랑 그런 와인을 좋아하시는 애호가들이랑의 어떤 근본적인 차이는 어떤 게 좀 있을까요?
And let's say connoisseur is that generally connoisseurs, they can have great knowledge about wine. They can even know how to make wine, how to grow grapes. But at the end of the day, they don't have to communicate it to people around the world. So that's the main difference. And I'm a trained journalist. I went to graduate school in journalism. I worked as a daily journalist. And what's really interesting to me is really great wines. When I don't know about the vineyard, I'm like, this is really cool, really good. I've never heard of it. And then I'll meet the winemaker, and then I'll go, wow, this person's so cool and really dedicated. That's why, as a journalist, it's fun because it's sort of, that's why I'm so interested still at 65, because I love that I'm curious, like, why is this so good? And then to meet this amazing person and visit this beautiful vineyard.
와인을 직접 만들어 드신 적도 있으세요?
Yes, so Marie and I started making a wine in New Zealand, a Pinot Noir, which is the same grape as that. And we bought a vineyard there in January this year. And it's a very small vineyard near Wellington in a place called Martinborough, only 3,000 vines. And we renamed the vineyard to a Korean word called Mire.
점수는 몇 점을 100?
That's a good question. I'm not sure I'll ever make a 100-point wine, who knows? But that's not my point. I just want to make a wine that reflects those beautiful vineyards I have, and they're very old. And I just want something that's really delicious and fun to drink.
그러면 100점 맞은 친구들하고 뭐 99점 맞은 친구들하고의 차이는 뭡니까? 1점의 차이는 뭐예요?
It's really interesting, but I find that emotions
Emotion?
are emotion. And I'm sure you're a very handsome guy. Like you've met someone, you like fall in love. You're like, oh my God, like I want to be with that person. And wine is like that. When I've tasted some wines, I'm just, wow, this is crazy. It touches your soul.
그 단지 우리 제임스 선생님이 그날 기분이 좋았을 수도 있잖아요.
Yeah, well, that could be as well. But in any case, then normally if it's 100 points, I'll taste it again somewhere else. So to try not to be influenced by that. But that's very interesting. You say that a lot of people don't understand because you're tasting a wine. You're human. So, but think about that's what's amazing about wine. There's no other product I can think of, maybe food to some extent, where you can consume it and you have that, besides being satisfied physically, you also have this emotional feeling about it. So food you can do too. It can look beautiful, you taste it, smell it. It has all these aspects as a human being that you can enjoy. And wine does the same. But the difference between food and wine is that wine, it's the vintage. So you leave the wine 10 years, 100 years, and it's just like a time machine. You're drinking, oh my God, that's 1945. That's the end of World War II. Or you have all these different years that can mean something to you. The only thing for me that does that other than wine is music. Like you hear a song and then you remember the first time you hear it.
근데 우리 제임스 선생님은 어떻게 이 와인에 대한 연구를 하고 이 일을 해야 되겠다고 생각을 처음에 하신?
When I started, I was a journalist and I was always motivated to write good stories about people, feature stories. And I got this job working for a wine magazine. And I realized that there was really very little competition as a professional writer. And there were so many great stories, very young age. And I convinced the owners of this magazine called The Wine Spectator to move to France. And I moved there in January 2nd, 1985. I must have been about 24.
24. 몇 년 정도 지금 이 와인 관련된 일을 하신 거죠?
So 42 years I've been working as a wine critic journalist.
그러면 이 40년 넘게 하신 일을 앞으로도 계속 하실 예정이세요?
Yeah, sometimes I think about that. I'm 65 now. But I'm always traveling like this but I'll go to Napa and taste wine. I'm in Italy for 3 months. I'll taste with my team 3,000 wines. But for now, I'll keep doing it.
How about Korean?
Korea, my wife's Korean. But what I appreciate about Korea is it has an amazing mix of tradition and modern culture. And I think the evolution of Korea has been amazing in my lifetime. When I was a child, if you mentioned Korea in the 60s in America, it was considered sort of bad quality products. Korean products are the best in the world. Music's amazing. Food, it's just insane in America, in the big cities. You go to New York, the best steakhouse in New York is Korean now. It's called Cote, and it's a Korean barbecue. It's just, and all the 5 one-star Michelin restaurants in New York are Korean. So I'm really excited about the whole thing. Korean people are highly motivated and creative and educated. I have a lot to learn still. I wish I spoke the language, but maybe one day.
지금은 JS라는 그 마크 자체가 이제 와인을 평가하는 최고의 기준이 됐는데 글로벌 표준처럼. 그런데 이렇게 성공을 하려면 어떻게 해야 이런 성공에 좀 더 가깝게 갈 수 있는지, 그렇게 되고 싶은 사람들이 많을 텐데 어떻게 하면 그렇게 될 수 있는지.
Yeah, so, I think about the journey I had and work, and I've done really well, but it's really been through a lot of hard work. And I'm a perfectionist in so many ways, so I've always worked hard in doing that. But also, there's been a lot of times when I've seen an opportunity and I've taken it. And I think that everyone in their life, they have certain opportunities that come to them, and a lot of times they're afraid to take that chance or opportunity. And when I think back when I was 52, 13 years ago, and I left the Wine Spectator and started my company, that was really scary. I almost went bankrupt. Like, I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. But in the end, through hard work, and my wife helped a lot, and a lot of friends, it's worked out. But every day when you work for yourself, you have to rely on yourself, and there's a lot of challenges. At 65, maybe people would retire at my age, but also I think if you stay in shape and you love what you do, the last thing you want to do is retire, because every day, if you have different goals, objectives, projects, that really keeps you alive, keeps you young, keeps your mind stimulated. And I think that that's really important. And I have a number of very successful friends as businessmen, and they say the same thing right now. They're about the same age. Now, I'm not going to retire. I can see this is so much fun still. And it's not really the pursuit of making money. It's actually doing something that you have a passion for.
그렇게 다른 사람들은 은퇴할 나이에 이렇게 열심히 할 수 있는 그 원동력은 어디에서 나온다고 보면 될까요? Bankrupt?
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I ask myself that, but it's actually, you could describe it in various ways, but the bankruptcy could be one way. I'm very competitive. When I was young, I was ranked in tennis in California, and it's more than winning. Even in tennis, like I play now, and it's more about the game. Like in the game of tennis, the game of life, if you love gamemanship, like the whole concept, you always want to do your best. I guess in a way, that's life in everything you do. It can be a bad day, but then something good happens.
이제 좀 와인 얘기 조금만 더 좀 해보겠습니다. 그 우리나라는 세계 와인 시장에서 굉장히 작은 시장인가요? 어떤 정도 위치를 차지하고 있습니까?
So the Korean market is about the sales are about 1.7 billion US.
오케이.
And in the last 4 years, particularly during COVID, the wine market grew a lot. And consumption went, I think, from about 0.8 liters per head to about 1.4 liters. So it's growing. This year, yes, sales are slightly down, but I think that's because people are traveling more. But I think that I'm sure you found as well, and I can see it just walking the streets of Seoul, that there's much more wine available. People are interested in wine. And I'm really positive about wine culture in Seoul. And I have this theory that Seoul could become one of the great wine cities of the world.
서울이.
Yeah.
Really?
Because it could be like New York, London, Paris, Hong Kong, because you have so many young people, a growing upper middle class. Koreans travel the world. They understand that food and wine is part of a sophisticated life. If you look at Korean movies, programs, the super sophisticated moment is always drinking wine, like with family or very close friends. So I think that Koreans recognize that wine enhances life and it's part of the good life, like many other things.
그 와인은 많은 분들이 조금 어렵다고 이야기를 많이 하거든요. 왜냐하면 너무 종류도 많고 뒤에 써 있는 것들도 읽어도 뭔지 잘 모르겠고 와인을 그래서 고르기가 매우 어려운데 좀 쉽게 고를 수 있는 방법이 있습니까?
You either can use ratings, talk to the person working, but you have to start and you have to find something you like. So maybe drink a Pinot Noir. I don't like that. Drink a Cabernet. I don't like that. You have to start somewhere. There's no wrong way to start drinking wine. The only thing you need to do is pull the cork and drink the wine. Don't get worried about your knowledge, or it's just like anything else. If you go to the museum and you're looking at a Van Gogh or Richter or whatever, it could be a master or a modern master, and you don't have to necessarily read up on knowing what the artist thought or who the artist is. You look at it, and if you feel something, then you know it's good. Wine's the same. You taste it, you like it, then start from there. Then you look for other wines that are the same. Then maybe I should try this. And it's a journey. It's a really fun process of learning about wine.
근데 이제 예를 들면 위스키는 12년, 뭐 17년, 뭐 21년, 30년 이렇게 딱 나눠져 있어서 딱 고르기도 되게 편하거든요. 가격에 따라서. 그리고 뭐 소주나 맥주는 딱 나오는 회사들이 정해져 있으니까 이 소주, 이 맥주 뭐 이렇게 딱 고르면 되는데 와인은 아무리 봐도 뭘 보고 내가 이 맛이 이럴 것이다라고 예측이 너무 어려운 것 같아요. 그래서 이걸 좀 제가 해결하고 싶습니다.
But that's part of the fun, because it's really interesting to learn about it. So as long as you try drinking wine and you enjoy it, then you can try other things.
자, 그러면 혹시 이 와인과 관련돼서 지금까지 이제 점수를 매긴 아주 뭐 훌륭한 자리를 지금 차지하고 계신데 앞으로 와인과 관련된 또 다른 새로운 일을 지금 도전을 생각하고 계신 게 있나요?
Well, now I'm actually working on a project which could help what you were talking about earlier. It's called James Suckling AI.
AI?
Artificial intelligence. So it could help people choose wines that they could like. It could help them find wines that they like. People could compare their tastes to my taste and then understand what wine they could like. So I've been working about 5 months on it, and I hope to have something out in the next 5 months.
Okay. Good for me.
Otherwise, you can just give me a call. It's probably send me a text. James, will I like this?
자, 그리고 저희가 이제 끝으로 좀 질문을 드려야 될 것 같은데 우리 제임스 선생님이 내가 스스로 넘어서고 싶은 숫자가 얼마인가요?
I think about going over, and that's 100.
100?
I use 100 as a wine critic, right? That's perfection. 100 in a way is how I try to live my life to the fullest and to perfection. I try to live every day thinking that it's my last day. But then 100, I want to live to be 100.
술을 이렇게 많이 마셔도 100까지 사는데 문제가 없나요?
I don't know. My doctor says that I have a 100-point liver.
liver. Okay.
So I'm hoping I can do it. But my grandmother lived to be 104 and my parents to 91. So I have a good chance.
자, 우리 3프로 시청자분들 가운데 이제 50대 분들도 굉장히 많으신데 50대 분들 혹은 뭐 그 이상 분들께 꼭 이 얘기는 좀 해주고 싶다 하시는 게 있다면 어떤 말씀이 좀 있을까요?
Yes, so I think it's for me what I've learned since I started my company at 52. There's so much more at that age, and there's so much more you can do at 60 because you have so much experience. And then if you can be open-minded, there's so much opportunity for you. And really, I would say everyone watching this program, like, do not retire. You know, you don't have to just play golf or tennis or go fishing. You can actually be something completely different and have different projects in life. And I really believe that this will keep us all going for a long time. And we have so much to offer. I've been working on different projects with people in their 20s or 30s. And it's pretty amazing the way we communicate to one another. And I've learned so much from them, but I really enjoy mentoring them. And it's a great and very energetic way to live in your 60s now. And I'm going to keep doing that in my 70s and 80s. The other day I had dinner with a friend. He's 80. Well, I was sitting there at dinner in Italy, and he looks exactly the same. And I'm saying, Massimo, well, how old are you now? You look so good. He goes, I'm 83. And I was saying, are you kidding me? You look like you're late 60s. I said, how do you do that? He says, well, I still have a lot of projects. He's a famous architect. I'm doing a museum in Israel. I'm building some houses in Rome. And I do Pilates twice a week. But he says, I'm never going to retire. I want to stay active, keep my mind going, have plenty of projects, and work with young people. And that's what I'm doing now. And I look forward to many years ahead like that. It's not really because I'm healthy and I'm working. I really believe it's because I'm working and that makes me healthy.
자, 우리 제임스 서클링님과 함께 오늘 즐거운 대화를 좀 나눴는데요. 오늘 출연해 주셔서 다시 한번 감사 말씀드리고 앞으로 100세까지 이 와인과 관련된 아주 흥미로운 일들, 특히 그 와인 AI 큰 기대하고 저도 기다리고 있겠습니다. 함께 해주신 제임스 서클링 선생님 대단히 고맙습니다.
감사합니다.
고맙습니다.